Superhero shows are now a mainstream staple. But before networks dived into the deep end of DC, Marvel, and more, we could always count on good old cartoons to deliver the goods and get us our superhero fix. A great animated super show can stand the test of time, pay tribute to the source material, and didn't treat us with kid gloves when it came to content. I'm Chris Carr. Here are my top 10 superhero animated shows. Number 10. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Alright, yeah, this show is pretty dated thanks to older animation. But you gotta admit, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was really fun, and set the standard for how we view our heroes in a house shell. The original comics were a sort of spoof on Daredevil's origin. The cartoon show dialed the violence way down and upped the fun and pizza. The series has spawned tons of reboots. The latest is set to air in the fall of 2018. Number 9. X-Men the Animated Series. There's no denying that 90s darling X-Men the Animated Series was amazing. I hear that theme song and I'm taken back to my childhood. Sing me the song of my people! The X-Men animated series mirrored the comics in that they included a diverse roster of heroes and touched on topics typically deemed too controversial for your typical toon. We saw some classic comic storylines appear, and I feel I speak for a lot of comic geeks when I say that the series was like a gateway drug for comics. I had never seen anything like it before. This was pre-Spider-Man series, pre-Batman, and it was huge. I'll always love you, X-Men the Animated Series. Big hair and all. Number 8. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Disney XD's Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes was like a love letter to the Silver Age of Marvel Comics. The 60s storylines blended perfectly with modern storytelling and felt like a fresh spin on the familiar tales. The show's cast is your typical Avengers assembly. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, the rest of them. The show contained great action sequences, several episode arc stories, and fantastic use of Marvel villains, from familiar faces like Loki and Red Skull, to your second and third string fellas like Blizzard and Graviton. The first season of the show was crazy strong, and sadly, didn't hit the same stride second season due to a fractured cast. I would have loved to see where else the show could have gone. Number 7. Wolverine and the X-Men. After a mysterious explosion takes out Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, and Professor X disappears, the X-Men go their separate ways. With Sentinels rounding up the mutants, Wolverine knows the world needs the X-Men, and works to reunite his team, find Charles, and unravel the mystery of what went down at the school. Eventually, they find a comatose Charles who contacts the team from the future, and hopes to change the strange new world he's awoken to. Very X-Men Futures Past sort of stuff. Great animation style, a wonderful roster of heroes, and tons of nuggets of classic stories for X-Men diehard fans make this a show you don't want to miss. And yeah, Steve Blum voicing Logan is definitely a plus for me. Y'all know I love his work. I have no shame. Number 6. The Tick. Yeah, it was meant to be a parody of superheroes, but The Tick deserves a place on this list. This fun, fantastic Fox series lasted for 3 seasons, and, upon syndication, gained cult status among fans. And who can blame them? The Tick followed the hero of the same name as he navigates being a professional hero with the help of his friend and sidekick, Arthur the Accountant. With the help of American Maid, Sewer Urchin, and other caped crusaders, the Tick and Arthur keep the city safe from villains like Chairface, Chippendale, Breadmaster, the Terror, and other evildoers. Number 5. Justice League. The Justice League cartoon delivered on teaming up DC's standard lineup of powerhouses. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and paired them with characters that weren't necessarily part of the casual superhero viewer's roster. Characters like Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl, who, by the way, had an amazing arc on the show. Justice League explored the DC comic mythos more than any show before, with stories ripped from the pages, and given some Bruce Timm flair. After 2 seasons, the show was reformatted into Justice League Unlimited, which featured shorter episodes and a massive list of supers. The result? Superb. With a season-long storyline that pondered the League's place in the world, and if their power had stretched too far, this show was hands down the best use of the JLA we've ever seen on the small screen. Number 4. Spider-Man the Animated Series. After X-Men, I was all about Spider-Man the Animated Series. Being the super cool kid I was, Peter Parker was my first crush. I'm less into dudes rocking polos tucked into their jeans now, but I definitely still dig this show. The storytelling definitely holds up for me. Over the course of 5 seasons, the show stuck to the web-slinger's classic stories. We're talking Symbiote, Clone Saga, even some Secret Wars stuff. What I think they did really well? Jumping right into the story. We don't have to get dragged through a season and a half of Peter figuring out his powers. He just does it. We all know how this stuff happens. Get to the web-slinging and puns. Number 3. Young Justice. Young Justice focuses on the lives of a group of teenage sidekicks attempting to establish themselves as proven superheroes as they deal with normal adolescent issues in their personal lives. The League, feeling these youngsters aren't yet ready to be full-fledged JLA members, allows their teen apprentices to further train and act on their behalf on global issues. I've talked about this critically acclaimed series before, and seriously, if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Turn this off. Go watch it right now. Number 2, Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond is a continuation of the Batman legacy, straight from the brainbox of DC genius Bruce Timm. Following a teen Bats, Terry McGinnis, in a futuristic Gotham City under the tutelage of old man Bruce Wayne, who looks a lot like a jacked Clint Eastwood. I loved how Batman Beyond tied so well into the events of Justice League Unlimited, and explored the darker side of a lot of Batman projects. The fear of the unknown, corporate greed, work-life balance for Vigilante, and issues with father figures, father murder, and getting your DNA stolen. That's a universal theme, right? Your dad's DNA getting jacked and your mom basically getting turkey basted? Right? Anywho, the real heart of the show, in my mind, is the disturbing psychological elements the show explored, especially when it came to Bruce Wayne. Plus, the cyberpunky vibe was a welcome departure from the 40s vibe we're used to when it comes to bats. And finally, number 1, Batman the Animated Series. Are you surprised? Of course I'm picking Batman the Animated Series in the number 1 slot. This show revolutionized the way we look at superhero cartoons, and had stunning, groundbreaking animation. Drawing on black paper? Are you kidding me? The mature storytelling and film noir style paid tribute to the comics, and helped define Batman as we know and love him. Especially that voice. I mean, come on, who else thinks it's weird to hear anyone but Kevin Conroy's baritone as Bats? I can't help but pick up Dark Victory and hear him. Of course, there are tons of other super shows about superheroes, so let me know which ones are your favorites in the comments below. And while you're at it, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Carr. See you, Space Cowboy.